Morning, everybody, and welcome to another video in Behind the Curtain of Leadership. Has anyone ever asked you about your company's culture? And what did you say or think about it? How did you describe it back to that person? Have you ever been in a conversation about what culture in a business or team actually is? It's a little bit of a gray area as everyone seems to have their own ideas on this, but it's one of the most important things leaders are responsible for on a team, in a company, or even with your family. While there are seemingly, endless discussions on what culture is, from a practical perspective, I've come to think of culture as the attitude, personality of the team, their values, how they cooperate, how they communicate, and how they think and feel about their team. Although we commonly hear about a company's culture, in reality, a company or business as an entity doesn't really have a culture, right? What they're referring to is the culture of the team of people that make up that company. And the culture of the team is determined by the leadership of the company. I've always found it interesting to hear people talk about a company's culture as if it's something beyond their control, right? It's something they can't change. It's just something that exists on its own. They'll say, well, that's just the culture of this business, or well, that's just the way the culture is here. At one time, part of my job was going into one of our companies and evaluate their business and create an improvement strategy. And everybody in these companies knew I was there to help, but I was initially viewed as the corporate guy, coming in to tell them everything they were doing wrong, direct changes, and they were naturally protective of the information they shared, which is fine. I already was well aware of their financial and business performance, so I knew what I was walking into from that perspective, but I never started there. I started with the people and the culture. I spent time meeting people in groups and individually. I wanted to know how they felt about their roles and the people around them, how they communicated with each other, and what was the level of caring they expressed. And having been around some outstanding cultures, it's pretty easy to see the good ones and the not so good ones fairly quickly. And I got to the point to where I had a pretty good sense of any business's culture after just, maybe spending a day or so meeting with the people. And some of the indicators I noticed regarding culture came from one on one conversations with the employees while in their work environment, right? Were they polite, friendly, engaging, or were they more of a heads down, don't bother me, indifferent attitude? Did they seem like they understood what they were doing and could explain their responsibilities, or was it more of a general, this is what I do attitude? Did they understand why their job was important and could at least generally explain how they fit into the bigger picture? Or did they seem uninterested in how or where they fit in? Did they give the impression that they even cared about being there? Did they immediately start complaining about their job, what others aren't doing well, and why things are screwed up? Or did they talk about ways to improve situations? Did they bring up positive or negative things? Did they act like they cared about the team, or were they disconnected from the other people? Did they talk about their customers as important, or more like kind of the necessary evil, or possibly even a nuisance to their job? And the other thing was, were they having fun? Or did it seem like they couldn't wait to go home at the end of the day? Was there a level of chatter in the office, or was it quiet and sterile? And these are just a few of the simple things, but they're also very important when you're understanding a team's culture. So let's say you're a new leader to an organization or team. What should you do when you realize that there's a culture problem and you are expected to change it? Well, depending on what you're starting with, changing a culture can be one of the most challenging, time consuming efforts any business leader can undertake. You have to have a long term mindset because what you're doing today won't always show lasting benefits for some time. And along the way, you'll invest a tremendous amount of energy and resources with little obvious short term returns. You may see some immediate things after you do a team building exercise or get the team together to talk about issues, but those are going to be short lived and produce only very short term results. Culture is built over years, and you cannot undo it in a few weeks or months. I mean, remember, culture is about people, and changing culture means changing people, the way they think, what they believe. And if you've ever tried to change someone's political beliefs, you know what I'm talking about, how difficult that is. So if you look at the psychology of people, and leadership is about people, therefore, leadership has an element of psychology involved. The way people think is based on their belief system, which they started developing from early childhood. Over their lifetime, this belief system was formed, reinforced, challenged, and reinforced again by the people they perceived as leaders in their lives, right? Parents, teachers, other adults, their friends' parents, role models, social media personalities, musicians, business leaders, bosses, coworkers, friends, and all others. This is how humans create, shape, modify, and reinforce their belief system. They bring their individual belief system into the workplace, and it becomes part of the culture of the team, contributing positively or negatively. Now, think about all the people in your business or on your team. Each one of these has their own fully developed, fully reinforced belief system that guides their attitudes, opinions, and life decisions. Collectively, they're part of the culture of your business. And if this team has been left alone or ignored for some time, this assumed culture is ingrained within the team. It's been allowed to continue. So, if you are that new leader in an organization or a team, overhauling the culture is a very, very challenging task, and it may require a third-party organization to help, depending on the size of your business. But there are many things you as a leader can do now to better understand your situation and start having an impact. So first thing you can do, simply talk to the people on the team. Learn how they think about life, their jobs. Understand what's important to them as individual people, not as employees. Brainstorm and document what you feel the culture should look like in the future. What are you trying to build? What do you want it to be? Ask for input from others on the team, regardless of their role or perceived value to the company. If you think about people as people first, the person at the bottom of the org chart is just as important as the person at the top. And if you disagree with this statement and think the people at the bottom of the org chart aren't that important, I think you need to work on your own personal belief system first. And fourth, start sharing this future state culture with select people and ask for their feedback. And if you can't find anyone who aligns with your ideas, you'll better understand the challenge ahead of you. Now, one word of caution about asking for feedback: when you ask for someone's feedback and then you never do anything with it, you're better off not asking at all. Because if you don't do anything with it, the message you're sending is, if you don't agree with me, then your ideas are not important. So you want to be careful with getting feedback. Final thought on leadership and culture. Look, if you're the leader or a leader within a group, the culture of that group is a reflection of you. You are part of the culture, and if you don't like the culture, change it. And this goes for you personally and your family if you have children. What type of culture do you want? Start living the culture you want to experience, and never let anyone stop you from demonstrating what you want to see in your life and the world around you, including your family or your business or your team. Again, culture is this huge topic, and it's so important to the success of any team or business. But you as a leader need to understand this is part of your responsibility to the team. You're responsible for whatever the culture is or what it becomes. If you shy away from this, the team will establish their own culture without you. And if you can't shape it up front, you'll never be able to change it later. So I hope this helps you in some way, or at least gives you, some new ideas on how to approach culture in your situation. It's a very complicated topic. Hopefully this gives you some ideas on what you might be able to do. So remember to check out the links below And if you want to, you can follow me on YouTube or you can follow me on LinkedIn where I share clips to other videos on a regular basis. Anyway, thanks again and take care.